Well, perhaps I need to address this situation about alkalizing foods. Dispelling myths on alkalizing foods. Actually, it is not the pH of the food itself that is really the determining factor whether the food is alkalizing effect on the body or not. It's a complicated chemical reaction that happens in the body. Sometimes a food that is very acidic can have an alkalizing effect on the body, and thereby some of the confusion comes into play that way. Also, you do need a balance. There's no such thing as saying, well, all my foods have to be alkalizing, and I should not have any foods that have an acidic effect on a body. That's not true too, because that's not the entire equation of what's going on in the body. The body does need nutrition. It does need protein meal building blocks, and some foods that have a acidic effect on the body have essential proteins that cannot be manufactured by the body. So it's not something that, I could say, like a hard fast rule or something that alkalizing foods are the only good foods for the body. And the key phrase is alkalizing foods. In other words, the net effect of the food itself has an alkalizing effect on the body. Now, a good example of a food that, if you measured the pH of the food itself, it's very acidic, yet the effect on the body is alkalizing. A good example of that is lemons. Lemons are very acidic when you measure the pH of the lemon itself. Now, I'm not going to go through the actual formula or whatever, how it works, but it is a fact. And, this is like a simple chart that shows here's the alkalizing foods, mostly alkaline. It's not saying the food itself is alkaline. It's saying the food has an alkalizing effect on the body. It will change the pH towards alkaline. Now, why do you want to change the pH of the body towards alkaline? Now, here's another thing that a lot of people, and I'm really addressing a particular popular video on YouTube about this, but it's probably there's other ones out there because I don't know if he's the only one doing this. Alkaline cells, an alkaline cell in the body has a slightly, it's a negative pH, but it also has a slightly negative charge, electrical charge. As a matter of fact, a very healthy cell in a body has about a half a millivolt, I think it is, electrical charge. It's a very slight, I forgot the exact parameters for the electrical charge, but there's a very slight electrical charge in the body, the human cells, that is healthy. The cell dies when the electrical charge goes towards positive, and the cell becomes weaker as the electrical charge goes to zero. But that's the same as, it's equivalent. It's like alkalizing is the same effect as a battery. Now, I know there's acidic batteries in the automotive world, but we're not talking about the automotive world. We're talking about an alkaline type battery. That's actually what your body cells are. They're alkaline batteries. So it's not just a matter of chemical, but it's electrical. Chemical and electrical actually go hand in hand. So you do want to have an alkalizing effect on the body. What you're actually doing is charging the body. It's not, that's really what it is. The body is a battery. In effect, every single cell in the body is a battery. It's an alkaline battery. The confusion lies in where if you take a food and the food itself is pH is acidic, not all the time does that mean that food that has a pH of the food itself that's acidic. That does not mean when it's processed in the body does it have an alkalizing effect or an acidic effect. Sometimes it goes one way or the other. Sometimes you can have something like baking soda water, which is very alkaline, and that does have an alkalizing effect on the body. So now, lemon juice is very acidic, but that has an alkalizing effect on the body after it's processed through the body and digested. The chart is not wrong. I mean, it's like, as far as this is like a I have like a generic chart on here that is, free. You can Google it anywhere. It gives you a basic, these are mostly alkaline foods, lower alkaline, pretty much in the middle. Then you got mildly acidic, and mostly acidic. But some of the things that are acidic, like even chocolates, can be good. I mean, dark chocolates can be good. Peanuts and walnuts can be good. Some of these things are beef, pork, types of meats can have, that are acidic, can have essential protein. So it's not, sometimes you don't want to avoid every food out there that's acidic. You want to have a balance, but the balance is you want to lean towards mostly alkaline. And again, that means it has an alkalizing effect on the body. Now, there is a reason why sometimes vegetarians or vegans, provided they get all the essential amino acids and things that are essential, that are somewhat lacking in the vegetarian world, and they get them through other sources, or even they get them through supplements. A lot of times the vegans and vegetarians are very healthy, provided they got all the essential amino building blocks and things that are somewhat lacking in vegetarian foods, because the vegetarian foods and fruits are largely alkalizing on the body. Again, the pH of the food itself may be acidic, but that has nothing to do with the effect on the body. That's what we're talking about. And it's not disinformation to give you this type of the stories even about baking soda. And here I'm showing 5 women from, I don't know, maybe the 40s or 50s. I could tell you that baking soda has been prescribed by doctors back in the past. It was the cure-all for pretty much anything. If you had a headache, you took you took a little bit of baking soda. It works. I mean, it's upset stomach. It has an alkalizing effect. It's very helpful. They used to have these claims on the Arm & Hammer boxes. Now, Arm & Hammer, I know they talk, I don't want to get too much on this subject with the baking soda, because that's not the only thing that's out there. A little bit of lemon juice is actually very healthy, including watermelon. It has an alkalizing effect on the body. It has nothing to do with, the food itself, its pH. It has to do with the effect on the body. And again, the alkalizing effect on the body is it's actually charging up the individual cells of the body. A healthy cell has a slight negative charge, which is the same as saying an alkalizing effect. Now, there's also other electronic methods that you can raise the body's battery voltage to the charge that's healthy for it. When you have a cell that's dying of cancer, the charge of the battery is very low. It also lowers the frequency vibration of the cell too. All these things go hand in hand. So, I mean, there is some I'm giving you a straight scoop on this. I just seen some information that I said, wow, I can't believe this. The alkalizing of alkaline foods for the body are a bad, a myth, a bad, and all this, and I'm like, no, that's not true. But again, I have to say that for the umpteenth time, and I think I know where some of the confusion comes into play, is that a food's pH itself does not equate to its effect on the body. Sometimes foods that are an acidic pH of itself have an alkalizing effect on the body. And again, our body is slightly negatively charged. All our healthy cells have a slight negative charge. And yes, you can go too alkalizing. It can go too far one way or the other. But there's a healthy balance. But a lot of these things were known, since eons ago. Not just even, in the modern times, and some, about healthy fruits and vegetables. For instance, even the Romans, the excavation during in Pompeii for after the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, they showed they had extremely healthy teeth due to what? Eating alkalizing foods like fruits and vegetables. Now, I'll tell you something else in this video too about that, because sometimes people think, well, if you're eating sugars, even if it's coming from fruits and vegetables, it'll rot your teeth. That is true, but really why your teeth become rotted is from lack of internal nutrition more than anything. Your tooth is a living, and your teeth are living organisms. Um, as a matter of fact, if they wanted to look at in archaeology, if they had doubts of, say, they found a skull of a person with a tooth, they could find from a fragment of that tooth the exact diet of that person over their lifetime by grinding the tooth up or piece of that tooth up and examining it. They'll be able to discover, say, for instance, that person's diet was 60% corn or something. But in the case of the Romans, who all had perfect teeth, due to the alkalizing effect of a mainly fruits and vegetables diet, they almost all had perfect teeth before they had dentists. That's even the situation in the world today. Sometimes there's areas in the world where people have absolutely no access to modern dentistry and they have perfect teeth their whole entire life. They don't get cavities or anything. That's because they have very good nutrition, but it's not just, the vitamins and the hormones and the proteins, but it's also the alkalizing effects of the food. And again, the key phrase is the food has an alkalizing effect. Do not be confused that some of these foods actually have, if you measure the pH of the food itself, it's acidic. That has nothing to do with the exact net effect on the body after the food is processed in the body and it goes throughout the body for nutrition. So here's the truth, and also sometimes you can make these effects occur on the body through electronic means. You can actually raise the battery voltage of the body through electronic means without food. Do not want to get into that subject here because I've actually never really put that out exactly, but I put that out in other indirect ways, but it's along the same lines. Your body actually has a slight negative voltage, which is the exact same thing as saying a slight alkaline chemistry. Your body is actually composed of many billions of cells, individual cells, that are in effect batteries themselves that have a slight negative voltage that are also slightly alkaline. And if they become slightly towards a negative pH, towards a zero pH from a negative pH, the voltage goes down and the cell dies. At the same time, the frequency of the cell diminishes and it goes at a lower frequency. All the cells have a vibrational frequency. And that battery gets weaker, the frequency slows down. They all go hand in hand. It all goes hand in hand. So there's different methods of actually accomplishing better health besides nutrition, but let's stick with nutrition because some of the other methods are far more controversial than this. But I do want to dispel the myth of people telling you that alkalizing the body is wrong because some of the foods are starting out as acidic or whatever. It's just plain wrong. And if you don't want to believe it, don't do it. Don't do it. That's all I have to say. Do whatever you want to do. But you can look all the way back to ancient history or even ancient modern history from 50, 60 years ago or more, and you can know what really was the wisdom of the day and common knowledge of the people. That seems to have gotten lost today in our modern world because it's not that lucrative to tell people simple things that don't cost that much money to stay healthy. Health today is a big business. It's got to be some, $20 a day formula or more to keep you healthy versus just your natural foods that you eat that actually are a part of your body. And again, I'll say that again about the teeth. Anthropologists, if they want to examine somebody from, I don't know, thousands of years ago, they want to know exactly what their diet was. If they want to find out if it was 60%, 80% corn, or if it was made out of meats of animals, or if it was from fish, or seals, or whale, or whatever the hell it was from, they could find out exactly what that person's diet was over the life of that person through grinding the teeth into a powder and examining the teeth itself, because your teeth are a living organism and minerals are always being replenished. And even though you say there's just minerals in there, they know exactly what the person's diet is. It's a proven fact. So that's just how it is. And even the electronic methods I talk about, they aren't the be-all, end-all of everything. They can help. They can help. But I did not go into that in this video, but they could still help bringing up the frequency of the cell, the battery charge of the cell, making the battery of each individual cell a little bit more negatively charged and more alkaline through electronic methods, and bringing up the frequencies of the cells. There's other things that could be done. One is the George's Lakowski multi-wave oscillator. I talked about that in other videos, but that's separate subjects. So just want to give you the real word here, because it's like fighting an uphill battle. It's not only fighting the medical establishment mafia and the trained cute talking liars that are trained cute and talking liars for big profit. It's also fighting a lot of these supposed alternative people, because a lot of these alternative people also have it wrong. Now, what can I tell you? I told you the truth. There it is. Just said it to you several times, and like I say, well, it's almost like which Burger King's not healthy, but like they say in Burger King, have it your way. Whatever you want to do. It's a free country, so whatever you want to do.